Hi, it's me, Dr. Prasad Pudila, with a new class series on spectroscopic techniques, organic spectroscopy as well as inorganic spectroscopy continuation will be there, in which this particular video is an introductory part of the spectroscopy technique, not discussing any spectroscopy technique as such, only giving the introductory explanation which supports the spectroscopy. Without this, it is difficult to understand the different spectroscopy techniques. So, in introduction, say we can say define a spectroscopy as it is a study of interaction of matter and light. Light means that is electromagnetic radiation that we see here. So here matter, it may be organic matter, organic molecule, it may be inorganic molecule or etc. Any type of matter which can interact with the electromagnetic radiation, which can be analyzed by using the light waves or light waves, which we call as the electromagnetic spectrum of radiation. Now the radiation or electromagnetic spectrum, it behaves like energy. It behaves like wave-like energy, that it has a dual property. It has got a particular particle nature as well as wave nature. This wave carries the energy in the form of particles and it propagates. It moves through a space even in vacuum at a constant velocity. So the electromagnetic radiation or electromagnetic waves, or simply radiation when we say, it consists of electric field as well as it consists of magnetic field. Therefore, both combined we call it as electromagnetic waves. Now, some of the characteristics, important points which you need to understand when we discuss about electromagnetic radiation, electromagnetic waves. First point, that these are the oscillation of electric charge as well as the magnetic field. That means when we say that a radiation, a light is there, that means it consists of both electric charge as well as magnetic charge or magnetic field. The second point, that they are characterized by their wavelength, or wave number, or frequencies. So what are wavelength, wave number, and frequency? We need to understand. Therefore, we can call it as some of the units which we need to study under spectroscopy. Therefore, a light wave. If I draw a light wave, we draw a wave like this. This is the wave nature. Therefore, this particular line represents a resting position, or we call it as mean level, or even we can call it as a baseline. And above that baseline, some wave nature which is there above that baseline as well as below that waveline. The portions which is above that one we call it as crest, and below that is called as crest. Anyhow, the wave here, the direction of movement or direction of propagation is on right side, and the upper side of the wave we call it as crest, and the bottom portion here it is two-dimensional. Therefore, I can say that it is a trough. So there are crust as well as trough in a light wave, and the distance between the base to the trough or to the crust, it is equal. The distance, it is equal from the baseline or the resting position to the crust, as well as the resting position to the trough. That is the equal distance, that is called as amplitude. Now the point of intersection of the baseline with the waves we call it as a node, and the particular completion of one crust as well as one trough we call it as one cycle of a wave. Now, if you take two crusts, the peak of two crusts, then the distance between these two, that is that length, or if you take two alternate nodal points, so this is one of the nodal point, this is a second, and this is the alternate. So if you take the alternate nodal point, that distance also will be the same as that of the distance between two crusts, as well as the distance between the nearby trough. That is known as the wavelength, which is represented by lambda. Now, if you take half of that means that is half of wavelength, which is equal as lambda by 2. So some spectroscopy will be using, or some techniques will be using half of the wavelength, lambda by 2. That's why to understand that I represented here. Now the reciprocal of wavelength, that is 1 by lambda, it is called wave number, that is nu bar. Now the number of complete wavelength passing through a given point per second is called frequency, which is represented as nu. That means in a given second, in a given particular point, how many waves, total waves, or how many wavelength, that is one complete cycle, how many number of cycles are present in a given point per second, we call it as frequency. Now wavelength, in detail about wavelength, some of the units of wavelength we can it can be represented or expressed in angstrom unit. How to write the angstrom? It is given here, or it can be represented as millimicrograms, that millimicrograms, or even micrograms. So the conversion, unit conversion, 1 angstrom, that is 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter. 1 millimicrogram equal as 10 to the power minus 7 centimeter. For 1 microgram, it is 10 to the power 4 minus 4 centimeter. So these are the distances only, measure unit of distance. Now wave number, that is the reciprocal of wavelength. Therefore, it can also be calculated if you know the wavelength. So, for if the wavelength lambda is 2.5 micro, then it is converted into centimeter, that is 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 4 centimeter. And wave number, that is the reciprocal, or 1 upon 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 4 centimeter. The value is 400. And the unit of wave number, that is 1 upon centimeter, that is centimeter inverse. So for cm minus, or per centimeter, that is the unit of wave number. Now frequency is directly proportional to 1 upon, or it is inversely proportional to wavelength. So it is directly proportional to 1 upon wavelength. Greater the wavelength, smaller is the frequency, because they are inversely proportional. That means if I take it to a given point of our importance, that means frequency, it is the number of wavelength or number of complete cycle of wave passing through a given point in a given second. Okay, so this point I represented here, this particular point, how many waves are passing. If it is a greater wavelength, so this is a greater wavelength, that distance between one crust to the next crust, that distance I represent as it is bigger, greater in size. Therefore, smaller is the frequency, the number of cycles in a given second in a given point, that will be very less. Therefore, as the greater the wavelength, smaller is the frequency. Therefore, obviously, smaller the wavelength, greater is the frequency. The same given point, I'm representing it. So the frequency is increased. Therefore, wavelength is decreased, frequency is increased. Even a higher frequency. So higher frequency represent like this. The crust comes closer to each other, the troughs also comes closer to each other. So you can say that in a given point, many number of wave cycles can pass, wavelength cycles can pass through in a given second, in a given point. Therefore, we can say that frequency is more. Now, frequency is expressed as cycles per second. In a given point, how many number of cycles of waves are passing in a given second. Therefore, cycles per second, or we call it as second inverse, or per second. Or you can express it as hertz, or even bigger value as megahertz. 1 megahertz is equal to 10 to the power 6 hertz. Now, frequency nu, that is c upon lambda. C is the velocity of electromagnetic radiation, that is calculated as 2.998 into 10 to the power 10 centimeter per second, or centimeter second inverse. Even you can write it as a 3 into 10 to the power 10 centimeter per second. Therefore, frequency is inversely proportional to wavelength, which is equal to c by lambda. Therefore, the proportionality convert into equality by multiplying by the constant, that is the velocity of light. So if lambda value is given as a 3800 Armstrong, then how to calculate frequency? First, we convert into centimeter, multiply by 10 to the power minus 8. Then frequency is equal to c by lambda. C is 2.998 into 10 to the power 10 centimeter per second, divided by lambda value, that is 3800, 10 to the power 8 minus 8 centimeter. Now here the centimeter and centimeter get cancels. Therefore, remaining is second inverse, or per second. Therefore, it is 7.88 into 10 to the power 14 per second. That many number of this many number of cycles, that is cycle containing one crust to the next crust, or from one nodal point to the alternate nodal point, that this many number of nodal points are passing through a given point at a given second. That is the meaning of 3800 Armstrong wavelength. Or you can convert into hertz. It is the same unit. Second inverse and hertz are same unit, which is given same value is taken. When we convert into megahertz, we'll multiply it by 10 to the power 6 or 10 to the power 6. We need to deduct that, it becomes 10 to the power 8. That is 14 minus 6. It becomes 8. Therefore, it is 7.88 into 10 to the power 8 megahertz. Now, energy, as per the quantum theory, the latest theory, physical theory on matters is known as quantum theory. As per the quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation, the electromagnetic radiation consists of a stream of energy packets. Those energy packets we call it as photons or quanta of energy. Now, the energy of that photon or quantum of energy is called as quantum of energy. Energy of photon depends upon frequency only, or we can write as energy E is equal to h nu, in which h is the Planck's constant, which is 6.625 into 10 to the power minus 27 erg per second, or we can convert it into joules per second as 6.625 into 10 to the power minus 34 joules per second. Now, converting that nu, we already know nu, it is a frequency. Frequency can convert as c by lambda, therefore h into c by lambda, in which 1 by lambda, it is the wave number, therefore converting it in terms of wave number, therefore it is hc nu bar. So here one dash required, so it is wave number, not a frequency. If you write nu, it is a frequency, a nu bar is required, therefore hc nu bar, that is the interconversion of energy. Now the characteristics, we come back to the characteristics. We stopped at point 2 and went to the units or that wavelength, wave number and frequency. Now coming back, the third point, the characteristics of electromagnetic waves. All types of radiation travel with the same velocity even in vacuum. It may be any radiation. We heard about IR radiation, UV radiation, visible radiation. They all travel with the same velocity in all the medium, given medium. Even it can travel without medium, that is, even it can travel in vacuum also. Fourth point, when it is already observed that we can see that if you take a prism and allow the normal light, that is visible light, it is passed through a prism, it undergo a phenomenon known as dispersion. That means it splits into different colors. Different colors means it is different wavelength or different frequency or different wave number. So thus it gives an idea to us that even all the electromagnetic radiation can be split into various components and can be used for analysis. Now, apart from now, this is the interaction of matter. Already we've seen about the radiations. Now, spectroscopy, it is the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the matter. Now, the interaction of matter, if electromagnetic radiation is applied to a matter or inside it passes through a matter, or when a matter absorbs the electromagnetic radiation, what are the possible interactions or possible movements? It can be classified as a translational motion as main motion movement. Apart from translation motion, there are three other different types of movement is observed, which are rotational motion, vibrational motion, electronic motion. The internal energy of a molecule, it depends upon, or it is a sum of the rotational motion energy or vibrational energy and the electronic energy. Now, when the molecule absorbs the energy, it cannot absorb, the matter cannot absorb all the energy. It can absorb all the energy, but this type of transitions or the energy transitions or movement, it is possible only if it absorbs a certain amount of allowed package of energy. It cannot simply absorb a given wavelength. If the given energy package is sufficient enough, then only we can observe any type of this type of movements, that it may be rotational movement or vibration or electronic, that we call as the quantum. That means it should take one particular number of a particular quantity of energy. If it is given, then only it will give this type of motion. Therefore, we call it as it is quantized. Therefore, the certain allowed quantum of electromagnetic energy it is required for all types of motion. Now we'll see first one, translational motion. We are not going in detail, only what it is, the meaning of that only I'm explaining here. When we come to the individual spectroscopy, wherever it comes there, I'll explain in detail, because it is required to understand the to analyze the molecules. Now here, the translation motion, what we call, it is a free movement of the molecules through the space when it absorbs the electromagnetic, or when it is when it hit by an electromagnetic radiation, there will be a further movement, a free movement of molecules through the space. The energy associated with the translational motion, it is known as the translational energy. So it is a free movement. So movement means it is displacement. We call it as kinetic energy. So it is a part of, it is a can be classified as a part of kinetic energy. So translation energy, it is a kinetic energy itself. Now, inside the molecule or within the molecule, there are type of motion movement known as rotational movement. It is the rotation of the molecule as such. Of course, a molecule as such, it rotates, we call it as rotational motion. So there are two types of molecules that we come across, that is non-linear molecules as well as linear molecules. If it is a non-linear molecule, that means it is not a straight chain molecule. It has got three-dimensional appearance, simply represented here. Schematic representation. It is in X direction, it is in Z direction, and it is in Y direction, or it is in Z direction. So here all the three dimensions. So this should be in Z direction. This is X direction. This is Y direction. So anyhow, you take that all the three dimensions. The molecules are arranged. Therefore, it is not a linear, a non-linear molecule. And if it is have a center of gravity, then it can rotate in all three possible axes. That is, x-axis it can rotate, y-axis also it can rotate, z-axis also it can rotate. All the three rotations are different type of rotation. The molecules, the atom present in that will be different. Therefore, you can say that it is three different type of rotations are possible, or we can say it has got 3 degrees of freedom. Whereas a linear molecule, it has only 2 rotational degree of freedom. That means if I represent a linear molecule I represented here. I'm drawing the x and y axis. So this is represented as x and y axis. One of the rotation, it is this end, the arrow which is given here, it goes behind the screen. At the same time, this the other side, it comes near to us. Therefore, it becomes perpendicular to the screen and rotate. That type of rotation is possible, as well as it can rotate in this manner on the screen, on this plane of the screen. Actually, it can rotate. It can also rotate behind as well as in front of us. So, 2 types of rotation is possible in linear molecules. The next one, that is vibrational motion. So all the other movements, whenever it come to the particular spectroscopy analysis, I'll be explaining with the molecule itself. I'll be explaining in detail what type of rotation is possible. Wherever possible, animation I will give, and I'll represent the movement. Here it is vibrational motion. So vibration of constant atoms in molecule, it is just a vibration. So you know what is vibration. So electronic movement, electronic vibration, electrons, the movement of electrons, if you consider atom is as a fixed point. Usually atom, it's not a fixed point, it can also vibrate as such, it can also move. But if you consider atom as a fixed point, then inside atom there are electrons, even there are inside there are neutrons also, even protons also, even the subatomic particles are also there. Therefore, the movement of electrons in an atom, we call it as electronic motion. Now, coming to the spectroscopy, the electromagnetic radiation spectrum. So, electromagnetic radiation spectrum, it is the arrangement of different types of radiation in the increasing order of wavelength and decreasing order of frequency, or vice versa. So here, the left-hand side, I have written the lower energy. So you already seen what is energy, frequency, wave number, and wavelength. If you are not clear with that, go back to this video. Once again, watch it. Then only it's easy to understand this concept. So here, the radio waves, or this left side, it is having lower energy. That means it have lower frequency, or it has lower wave number. but it has got higher wavelength. That is clear with the picture given, where picture is given. Wavelength is high. Therefore, wave number is less because wave number is the reciprocal of wavelength. Frequency is lower because frequency it is the number of waves or wavelength passing through a given point in a given time second, and it will be having lower energy. Whereas the right hand side, it has got higher energy, the frequency is high, wave number is high, but lower wavelength. So this is the electromagnetic spectrum which is represented here, in which only the one which is visible to us in from the spectrum, that is we call it as the visible spectrum, which consists of VIBGYOR. Okay, so it consists of violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. So here VIBGYOR, the visible spectrum are given in the nanometer wavelength. Remaining all are given in different. Kilometer is there, meter is there, centimeter is there, micrometer is there. So all Armstrong is also there. So okay, so this one in detail, if you go connected to a spectroscopy, how we can use this electromagnetic spectrum. So already seen that the characteristics of electromagnetic spectrum, we can split into different frequencies or different wavelengths, and we can use it for studies. Therefore, by using the different wavelength of this spectrum, if you use the first set of wavelength, it's a group of wavelengths are present. It's not a single one. From 10 around 10 to the power 4 to 10 to the power 10 frequency hertz. That is known as, mainly we call it as radio waves. By using that radio waves, we can have two types of spectroscopic analysis, that is nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy as well as electron spin resonance spectroscopy, in which the matter interaction, how the radio waves interacts and what it interacts with the electron spin or nuclear spin, it is mainly involved. So nuclear spin is in NMR spectroscopy and electron spin is used in ESR spectroscopy. Coming to the next set of frequencies, so that is from 10 to the power 10 to 10 to the power 12. Okay, so frequency I'm explaining here. Comparatively, the wavelength also you can calculate. So 10 to the power 10 to 10 to the power 12, that frequency can roughly we can call it as microwaves. This is not the exact range which I'm giving. A rough range from 10 to the power 4 to 10 to the power 10, I call it as radio wave. That is for us to easy to remember, recall it. Exact wave number I'm not giving here. That when it comes to the particular radiation application, that time I'll explain. Here I'm not confusing you. So here 10 to the 10 to 10 to the 12, roughly we can say it as microwaves. All the waves present in that, a mixture of different frequency radiations present in that, which we call it collectively called as microwaves. And by using microwaves radiation, we have rotational spectroscopy, in which the rotation of molecule, especially the polar molecules. So you know what is polar molecule, where the charge separation is present inside the molecule. If such molecules, if they rotate, if you pass microwaves, they can rotate. Even they rotate, because of the polarity, it creates a dipole moment. Change the charge separation, it creates a dipole moment. That dipole moment is used for the analysis. Different polar molecules have different dipole moment that can be analyzed. That by analyzing that, we can guess which molecule is given, or we can analyze the molecule. The third group of radiation, that is from 10 to the 12 to 10 to the 14 hertz, that is IR radiation or infrared radiation. That spectroscopy which can be used are infrared spectroscopy, in which the vibration of bonds in molecule, which creates the dipole moment, which changes the dipole moment. It is used to analyze the molecule. So different molecules which can be studied by IR spectroscopy, they will change their they have different dipole moment. Therefore, that is by using that, we can analyze the sample. Now, from 10 to the 14 to 10 to the 16 frequency, that includes visible as well as UV. We call it as UV visible range. That is UV visible spectroscopy, in which the matter's interaction of the matter with UV visible radiation. It is the outermost electrons of an atom or molecule. We call it as valence electrons. What happens to the valence electrons? whether it absorbs the energy, whether it jumps to higher energy levels, it jumps back to normal level, emits a particular wavelength radiation. All those are studied in UV visible spectroscopy. Then the next set, that is 10 to the power 16 to 10 to the power 18, those are X-rays. By using X-ray spectroscopy is there. So these are high energy radiations. Now onwards it is high energy radiation, X-ray to gamma rays. Therefore, high energy radiations, even we can study the inner electrons. Okay, by using UV visible spectroscopy, the outermost electrons transitions can be studied properly. By increasing the energy or frequency, even the energy changes happening to the inner electrons also can be studied. That is X-ray spectroscopy. You know what is X-ray, how it is used in medical field. Now the last set in this given set of electromagnetic radiation, that is gamma rays, that is 10 to the power 18 to 10 to the power 20, in which having even higher energy. Therefore, that high energy, even it can interact into the nuclear particle, the nucleus itself, changes happening to an atom. The nucleus of an atom itself rearranges. That can be studied, which we call as the Mossberg spectroscopy. So some of the spectroscopic techniques which I explained by this in electromagnetic radiation, there are many other spectroscopy techniques which we'll discuss one by one in coming classes. So this I am concluding here, that if radio wave is used, we have NMR and ESR spectroscopy in general, not discussing in detail here. If microwaves are used, we have rotational spectroscopy. If IR waves are used, we have IR spectroscopy. If by using ultraviolet as well as visible waves, we have UV visible spectroscopy. And by using X-ray waves, we have X-ray spectroscopy. And gamma ray waves used, Mossberg spectroscopy. And even one more doubt of some of my students asked, why the name starts as violet or red, or why the name is given as IR waves as well as ultraviolet rays. Because in visible light we given the names as violet to red. After red, whatever comes, those waves names are given as infrared, and before violet or after violet they are ultraviolet. So that is easy to understand, whether IR comes to the red side and UV radiation comes to near to the the violet side. So these are the spectroscopic techniques that we discuss one by one. Even more spectroscopic techniques are uploading to my YouTube channel, My Intuition. Please do subscribe my YouTube channel named My Intuition. Do like the videos, share the link to maximum so that everyone can understand this concept. Thank you very much for watching my video once again, and have a nice day.